Hello, welcome to the Holistic Healer podcast dedicated to all things holistic. I am your host, Cheryl Lee. Today, Dr. Morse is back for part 2, where we counter the Hippocrates Institute advice of eating little to no fruit. We also talk about spirituality and mindfulness. Enjoy the show.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Holistic Healer podcast. My name is Cheryl Lee. I am your host, and today I have Dr. Robert Morse back for part 2. And yay, I'm so excited. And we're going to talk about all kinds of really amazing things. And it's going to be a great one. And for any of you wanting to kind of know Dr. Morse's backstory, you can refer to part 1, which is also on the Holistic Healer podcast. And so we can just get right into this today, which is going to be amazing.
Be fun.
So it's going to be great. So I really wanted to talk to Dr. Morse today because there are some people in the raw food community who are promoting not using or eating any kind of fruits, or at the very minimum of fruits. And so I really wanted to talk about this because I think it can be very confusing for people who are, first of all, it's very confusing for people who are starting out on this journey because they're hearing from, all ends, all sides, and they don't know where to go or who's right or who's wrong. Oftentimes these people don't have the time to do their research. They're just listening and starting to implement. And so, there's a disconnect. I mean, there's a disconnect from what we're supposed to be eating, I feel. Just, if we've spent our life eating the standard American diet, for example, we're numbed out. I mean, we are really numbed out. And I don't even think we have the ability for a while to even tap in to the awareness that's within us. So,
right on.
Yeah. So why don't we start with you? Maybe let's start with talking about how we are frugivorous species.
Okay, so I was telling you that Dr. Coffin had called me and asked me for an interview, and I was assuming it was on the B word, but it wasn't. It was on fruitarianism.
Okay.
And so that's up my alley, and I was in the process of making a book on it, and so that actually excited me to do V books. So I've got a whole series of V-books coming out called The Illusion Called Disease. And it's a series. The first book is Naturopathic Science versus Allopathic Theories. And we're going to show you that naturopaths, those that are aware enough, use science because naturopathy is the science of nature. Chemistry, right. Physics, botany, you name it. That's what we are into. We're into the chemistry of foods. We're into the electromagnetic energy of foods, right? So it excited me. So I've got a V-book coming out called Fruits and Berries, the Natural Food of Humans, and that the human is indeed a frugivore. And you can go back. We've got anthropology on our side. We went back 10 million years ago. We looked at teeth. We looked at gut tissue. And we also look to see, because the argument on some is there's been adaptation from the Homo sapien frugivore into the Homo sapien omnivore.
Gotcha.
And I have to laugh because in reality, humans eat more meat than grizzly bears, by far. And it's amazing people still trapped into those kind of antiquated ideas and stuff like this, and especially when it comes to vegetables versus fruit.
Yeah.
Right? So the primate and the human are only about 4%, 3% or so different. The difference is neurological and a little physical. So when you see a human who's created the Empire State Building versus a primate who can open and shut doors, can build some things, can put 2 or 3 different foods at the same meal, has some of that. The Homo sapien has a lot of that. And they claim also the first stage of self-awareness in the species on this planet. So when you're arguing about fruit over vegetables, I have to laugh because there is no real argument for vegetarianism for humans.
Right.
We don't have the teeth. Our jaws don't grind. Our GI tract is way too short. I can go on and on. Hooves versus hands and fingers. I can go on and on and on. of the differences between a frugivore, a Homo sapien, and a herbivore. And a
Right.
herbivore is a vegetarian, an
Mm-hmm.
animal that's job is to eat vegetables. But
Yeah.
almost every vegetarian animal that I know, herbivore, has at least 4 stomachs. The human only has 1.
Yeah.
Why? Fiber. Why do we create juice extractors for? Because we want that fiber out of there. We want the juice. We don't
Juice.
want it. Exactly. Because
Yeah.
as you get older and you're more sensitive to foods and their textures, you find that all that fiber gets in your teeth. It's hard to digest. Of course, those are malabsorbed, don't get any benefit. And then, of course, out they go.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with vegetables for the right species. But like I said, there's 4 basic vertebrates, and there's
Okay.
the frugivore, which is the primate and the Homo sapien. There's the herbivore, which is your elephants, your horses, your cows, your
Yeah.
rhinos, and things like that, rabbits and stuff. Then you got your omnivores, dogs, hogs, bears, and chickens. We don't look anything like that.
No.
We don't look like herbivores anywhere. And then you get down to your carnivores, which is totally a different species.
Which is crazy now. Like a lot of the people that are promoting a carnivore diet, the byline is this is the species specific diet, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So take a look at this. This is the
Crazy.
teeth of a carnivore,
Yeah.
right? And then there is the human teeth. Looks like
Mm-hmm.
we can rip into some hide like that. You can, if I send any human out into the pasture to take that cow, I want you to jump on the back of that cow.
Yeah.
I want you to rip the hide off of that cow. I want you to bite into the tissue, rip the skin off, and eat the meat.
Yeah.
Now, if we're true carnivores, that would be exciting for us. We're
Yeah.
going to go get an animal. We're going to go jump on it. We're going to rip the skin off, and we're going to eat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we were true carnivores, that would be what we would think. We don't think, if you got someone thinking that way, probably just got on the planet,
Yeah.
as a soul,
They're
newly
newbie.
arrived.
Yeah. They're gonna have a few more
Yeah.
lifetimes to live. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
So then, just on that subject, real quick, because I know people are interested as well. Why do you think the people who are in the carnivore space, for example, say that it was because of meat that it was actually that's what allowed our brain to evolve?
that's untrue. That's
Yeah.
so untrue. It's not even funny. Matter of fact, I'm introducing another study in the book that showed the question that they had was, why is the Homo sapien and the primate brain so big? And they related to a fruitarian diet. Because
Mm-hmm.
man has been fruitarian until the earth changes and man migrated and all this stuff. People have to realize that. But when you tear the human anatomy apart and look at the physiology, there is nothing you can say but we're totally frugivores.
Yeah.
Now, here's another important part. Electrically. Electrically, fruit are much higher electrically than vegetables, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what's that? That is neurological. So I'll give you one real quick case. This is a 43-year-old advanced MS, chronic. She's about 4 inches thick all the way through, really thin, frozen stiff, couldn't move.
Okay.
I put her just on fruit, and in 2.5 months, she's feeding herself. She's wheeling herself.
Wow.
And I said, honey, you're so thin. I want to put some muscle on you. And I have some of that. I'm going to put you on some alfalfa. I'm going to put you on a salad a day.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happened? She quit moving. She couldn't move anymore. I had to get her back on the fruit. And if you didn't know that there's about 3,000, I'll use angstroms or any level of electromagnetic energy ratings that fruit have over that. Now look at Yale just came out with a study that said, isn't that cool?
Yes.
That said that
Yes.
the brain converts glucose into fructose. So when you're talking to Hippocrates or someone and you're dealing in neurological cases, which is way beyond their ability to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you're not talking vegetable matter. I've had 50 years of this. You're talking fruit matter in regeneration. Matter of fact, here's another quick example. Jessica, our top counselor here, had a quadriplegic starting to move his feet all on fruit. They freaked out and said he's losing too much weight. They took him off fruit. Now I can't move anymore.
Yeah, look at that.
Just to show you the difference.
Yeah, that's it. It's in the proof is in the,
everything.
Real pudding.
It is in the pudding, and it's everything. Yeah. Every time you can go down, I've got 35-point list that shows the difference between fruitarian lifestyle and the environment. You talk about environment and farming and all that. Look at the farming required for vegetables and look at the fruit trees. And the
Yeah.
same acreage that you can feed, say, 10,000 people with vegetables, you can feed 50,000 with fruit.
Absolutely. So it's, we can look at it on like,
Thousands of ways.
It's not, yeah. When we're talking about this, for me, it's like to really truly embody holistic. It's about, yes, for sure, it's the food we eat, but how does it affect us mentally, spiritually, emotionally? How does it affect the planet? How does it, all of these things matter. It all makes us up, so it's everything, and it's that important.
It is everything, and it is that important. And let's hitchhike on another. We talked about neurological. You got to be on fruit diet to get neurological regeneration, especially if you're in a wheelchair. But let's also look at tumors, cancers, and tumors, and things like that. Vegetable matter is low in astringents, very low. It's electrical, no question. It's great for big animals if they want the more amino acids. Vegetable has more amino acid stacking than fruit, obviously. But look at an elephant versus a gorilla. There's a huge difference in terms of muscle size and all that other. But we were farmers, so we had horses. So you watch herbivores graze, and they're constantly eating.
Yeah.
Comes in one, goes out the back.
Yeah.
It's almost like a machine. So, you can argue all these cases, but there's no way the Homo sapien. And if you have a little pancreatic weakness, you're going to see undigested vegetables matter in your stools.
Sure. So now I'm talking about, we'll put it out there because I'm sure everyone knows, like, this is really coming from the teachings of Hippocrates. And so a lot of these claims that I'm going to kind of throw at you right now, just to do a counter. Okay. So one of the claims is that the body does not want fruit sugar. The brain doesn't work and the muscles don't like it. You're going to think less and you're going to have impaired thought patterns if you are eating a fruit-based diet. These are claims that are made. So let's get into this.
This one. Liar, liar, pants on fire. That's a lie. That's a major lie.
Yes.
And he said that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and he should resign and go find something else to do because he's hurting people with that. Your brain, and this Yale study just shows you that the brain converts simple glucose into simple fructose. Well, ask yourself why the body would convert a simple sugar into another simple sugar if it isn't superior. And it is superior. And how that happens, who knows? But we can move this into clinical practice. And clinicals is where I have my experience. I've been behind my desk helping people for 50 years, and worldwide, we're all over the place.
Yep.
We regenerate tissue. Matter of fact, on our website, the drmorris.tv, go look at tissue regeneration. Look what we did with the toe. You would think you need protein and everything else to rebuild a toe. We rebuilt that toe just on fruit, and the guy was a diabetic and high blood pressure. Didn't have it. Now, we put him on fruit. He ended up not having diabetes. We cleaned up his adrenals, cleaned up his kidneys, so his blood pressure was normal. He got a new toe out of it, all on a fruit and herbal diet.
Yeah.
So you can't decline clinicals when it's in your face and you're watching these people in real time get better. And the other side of this is tumors. No offense to Hippocrates, but we've had a line of your people over to our clinic because you can't get rid of tumors on vegetable matter.
Yeah.
You need to step up to the strong astringent fruit levels and that up into the watery astringent levels. Your oranges, grapefruit, lemons, stuff like this, because that's the only way you're going to get your kidneys to filter and get this out. But see, they don't understand the lymphatic system there. They don't understand any of it. This is our group that's putting this out.
So I found that statement interesting as well. The statement that muscles don't like it, because you're not going to, how are you going to derive the energy from vegetable matter to get on your bike for 3 hours? How are you going to derive energy to go do really anything that requires activity? Like, it's calorically eating vegetable matter, you're going to be at a loss.
Yeah, to a fruitarian thinker who eats fruit predominantly, salads can enervate you because you're used to that high energy of the fruit. And I've had salads for lunch and then almost fall asleep with my patients and it's salads. You think, oh man, I should have all kinds of it. Not when you're used to higher levels.
Yeah.
Everything is leveled here. And this idea, Dr. Jensen woke up to prostate cancer, bad one. and he went on a 3-month carrot juice fast. Been there, done it, you know,
Uh-huh.
and got nowhere. Had he done 3 months great fast, he might have still been alive today. But he went carrot juice. So here's a good question. You got a shower door full of mineral deposits. Can you use carrot juice to clean it off, or you want to use lemon juice?
Right.
Right.
Gotta use that.
So
Yeah.
you're looking to clean the internal condition of the human body, but you have to learn which side of chemistry you got your body into and why you're seeing the inflammatory response and how you fix all of that and get the tumors out of you, repair tissue that's damaged, and rebuild bone, whatever you got. If you got brain lesions, you can rebuild them. This
Yeah.
idea that you're stuck, that you can't go anywhere, that you have diseases, this is all medical lies and bullcrap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Medical doctors can't cure anything. They don't know what causes anything because they went to school and learned Rockefeller's world of diseases. Well, if you learn the world of diseases, you've just learned the world of fallacy.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
no cause. There's no known atopic cause to it. We can just treat the effects and good luck.
Have
No,
fun.
come on.
Well,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
So I
for
just
sure. And so I mean, I just thought that was, I thought, someone who heard that, who started implementing that, then they are going to start falling backwards in quick order, abandon the whole raw food idea, say, oh, it was terrible, didn't work for me, probably go over to carnivore or something.
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Just experiment on your own. Go on a fruit diet for a week and then go on a vegetable diet for a week and see
yeah.
the differences. Either way, start with the vegetables and go to the fruit would probably be better, especially if you've never detoxed, your bowels are backed up, all this sort of thing. Might want to go on your vegetables first and then get into your fruit, because your fruit is really going to start cleaning the mucus out of your sinuses, the mucus out of your voice box, the mucus out of your lungs. It's going to clean the mucoid plaque off your bowel wall. It's going to get your kidneys filtering again. And if you say anything to your listeners, is get your kidneys filtering. Make sure when you pee in a jar, there's sediment in it. If you have clear urine, you're in major, major trouble. And we don't use vegetables to repair kidney damage.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's a good one. So the other statement was that fruits are more lipogenic and fat producing, that the sugar acts like fat in the body, and you are reducing oxygen by putting fruit in the body, creating a fat structure. This is word for word. I've taken this as I'm not making this my own. So the fact that a fruit is going to act like a fat in the body and it's going to reduce oxygen.
I don't even know where this guy got this.
I'm like, where would that
This
have
stuff
come
is
from?
not in anywhere I know of. This is so stupid stuff. This is not logical stuff whatsoever. When you have too much simple sugar, which is hard to get, if you have too much, you'll get some glycogen storage and stuff like that. So what? But the fructose is neurological. That's neurons. And you're not going to get too much fructose. That's just, you're not going to see that. I couldn't even get enough when I was eating just fructose. But simple sugars are essential. That's how we get our ATPs, ADPs, AMPs. You would not you can get it with vegetable matter, of course, but you're mainly the glucose inferior simple sugar. It's obvious that that fructose is the superior sugar. It works, simple sugar. It works with neurons. Obviously, the species that use the fruit are the more awake, more aware, even have self-awareness to them, where you don't see that in the other species levels.
Yeah,
so,
gotcha.
If you want grunt muscles and you want to be like a herbivore, go ahead and load up on vegetables. But if you've got tumors and you've got neurological problems, I highly recommend you move to the fruit. And you will, just the opposite of what this dude is saying. Your thinking power will explode. Your mind will quiet. Your ability to perceive consciousness-wise explodes. So your emotions are more in check because you got your adrenals strengthened up. And so you become more of a self-warrior person, a understood person. Spiritually, then you begin to see the oneness of all of life and you begin to go that direction.
So from a spiritual perspective on that, if you are somehow not feeling in alignment with eating fruit and you're going, from a spiritual perspective, it feels to me like that could be like a spiritual blockage in the body that you are not wanting for whatever reason to fully open, awaken, evolve, expand from that side of things. No?
Well, honey, you're right on with that. Each individual, we'll just use the word soul, maybe a unit of
Yeah,
awareness
sure.
or whatever. They're on their own journeys in that way. And so, what was I going to say about that? Other than
Just that I was saying that the spiritual, like, is there a blockage in the way that we
yeah,
want
I mean,
to evolve and grow spiritually?
yeah, I have not, in my own personal experiences, had vegetable matter give me the out of body experience or
Hmm.
elevated peace of mind that fruits do.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits are more bioavailable, more bioactive in every way, shape, or form.
Right.
And your most advanced species would use them. If you're into, let's say, Hinduism or something, and you don't want to hurt anything, then you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to eat vegetables because you
Right.
would give what a plant or tree bears is considered a fruit. So it's a tree or plant giving you the goodies. We made this for you. You don't eat us. We
Mm.
made this for you.
Yes.
Eating us is cuckoo. You know,
Mm-hmm.
here's our gift to you.
Yeah, right. Do you think then on a subconscious level, perhaps, that there might be, like, for example, sometimes when people do fasting or extended water fasting, extended juice fasting, they're going to have a lot of stuff come up, like maybe quicker than following like just a
Mhm.
fruit-based diet even. And oftentimes they're going to be scared of those emotions, all of those
Yep.
feelings that are coming up. And so they stop. And so in a way, even just eating a high vegetable based diet to me feels like there's like a block there to move forward on the spiritual side, that somehow you're not ready and maybe you're holding back, if that makes sense.
That's okay. I think you're
Yeah.
right with that. I mean, my point was that everything is at its own level of awareness.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and I think is to your point that you generally live within that realm of your consciousness. You
Right.
express, you think, you feel, your actions are all tied to your level of awareness and level of
Yes.
experience. But as you let go and as you get beat up by all those desires of yours and all these things that are taking you down your road and your
Mm-hmm.
journey, and as you let go of these things, you start freeing yourself up. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you start arriving at more of these levels, you can feel the difference with the fruit spiritually than you can the vegetables.
Yes.
Vegetables are more earthly. And that
Mm.
256-year-old Chinese guy did make the comment that the higher off the ground you eat, the healthier you will be. And
Mm.
he
Okay.
died in March, what? He died in 1933 at 256 years old. I got a painting of him over here. And you
Wow.
can Google
Wow.
the guy. So everything points to a fruitarian lifestyle for the Homo sapien. I'm not saying man can get there because spiritually it's extreme. I couldn't do it because I
Mm.
was out of my body. I think I told you more than
Yeah.
anyone.
Yes.
Energetically, it's unbelievable. But if you want to regenerate nerve brain lesions and neurological myelin sheaths and stuff, you've got to be at those levels. And if these Hippocrates claims that they can cure all these neurological, I want to see proof because I disagree with you. I've seen your clients,
Yeah.
lines of them coming over with tumors that you couldn't budge with. I had one kid, he had a large tumor on the side, been there 3 months,
Yes.
same size. At least they kept it the same size. I had it gone in 2 months.
Yeah.
And he was brought over by one of their educators who stopped educating me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, again, comes back. You got to see it's the proof,
Mhm.
right? It's the proof of it.
It is. I had three ladies come to my live class and three sisters. Two sisters said, well, we're coming into your class, but my other sister, she wants to go to the Hippocrates,
Mm.
right? So she did. One of the sisters went to the Hippocrates. Two of the sisters stayed in my class. Middle of the week, the other sister comes back from Miami, comes back from the Hippocrates and starts telling me everything that went on. And it was weird,
Yeah. Yeah.
psychically weird. So be real careful. Guard yourself around that individual because
Yeah, absolutely.
psychic, you got to be
Absolutely.
careful. You don't want anybody in your space.
no, no. And so the one of the other points that were made was that, and I'm sure you've covered this before, but we can do it again here. So that fruit today is about 30 to 40 times sweeter than the original fruit, and that by eating the modern fruit of today, that we are keeping our sugar addiction alive, and that fruit could be but get this, that fruit is like methadone to heroin. Yeah. So we have to view fruit like a methadone for our addiction, and that this is the root, that literally the sugar is the root of all problem, but there's no distinction between drinking a can of Coke and eating a watermelon.
This guy is a fruitcake, and I don't mind saying it on live.
No, me neither.
Fruitcake. You don't say crap like that, and that's not even true. No education behind this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. These are falsehoods all the way through there. You would have a ton of species dead on that. Particularly the primate families. You got the orangutan families, which are exclusively frugivores. You got a lot of species there in properly location. Remember, location. Man and the planet has changed drastically.
Yes.
And we spit on fruit. We don't understand that this is our divine food. This is the food for man. We got into eating dead animals, milk. And like I said to you earlier, we eat more protein than grizzly bears do.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're frugivores. We're not carnivores. And when you look at the acid ash foods and you look at the whole chemistry of that whole thing, you see why man's suffering. So if he's claiming that man should keep eating the way he's eating, what? This is why man. That's the whole thing of diseases. It takes the responsibility away from the individual, gives the doctor the power to control.
Yeah.
And of course, because there's no cure to something that doesn't exist, so then we can give you pharmaceuticals for something that doesn't exist, and you'll be on it for the rest of your life. Great money-making machine and a great killing machine.
Yeah.
However, if you want to be well, regenerate the human form, not difficult, real easy. And we use herbs and fruit. I mean, it's like, matter of fact, let them get on the tissue regeneration site and look at all what we did. Look at what we did through mother's milk. But the mother going on the fruit
yes,
and the herbs, and the dad just destroyed this son's brain and everything, and we rebuilt it through mother's milk. Just to show you the differences. We had him all on fruit. He should have been dead, right? According to
should have been dead.
Yeah.
Well, and this perpetuates into all the other health arena, like when we start talking about the paleo, the keto, the carnivore, which is still all over the place. But this whole idea of, fruit is poison, fruit is this, it's like it starts in that one spot, but it leaks everywhere else, and so there's a huge population now that is absolutely terrified of eating fruit.
Isn't that too bad? Well, they got to learn differently. And a good example is that National Geographic was starting a brand new series, and the brand new series was The Great Carnivores. The first show was on the grizzly bear. All right. So they called the grizzly bear a carnivore. That was a lie right off, because the grizzly bear is not a carnivore. He's an omnivore. So National Geographic lied on TV to everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So now so they look at the grizzly bear. 65% of the diet, sage-grass, 14% tubers, berries, and other things, only 7% protein.
Yeah.
What? The grizzly bear is a big carnivore, 7% meat, and that's mainly skin. The babies we were talking about get the meat because they're growing. The grizzly bears needs the sugar to what? Hibernate, because if you don't have sugar, you don't have ATP. And guess what happens, Brian, if you don't have sugar? Guess where your body goes to get it? So if you're out in Alaska and you get a 6-foot snowstorm, your wood is out on the porch, but you can't get the door open to get it. So you can't have any heat. What do you do to heat yourself up and stay without freezing? Take your curtains off. You burn the couch. You burn everything in there. You burn your interior walls. You tear your walls apart. You start burning that. And then you're going to tear your outside walls down. And that's exactly what the body does. When you go onto a high protein diet, your body has to rip itself apart to get sugars.
Yeah.
And you got to have sugars. No sugar, no life. But they don't get that. It's all been flamed up like fructose is fructose corn syrup or some bull crap like that. Really,
Yeah.
is that the level of thinking humans are at right now?
Well, and you know what? The thing of it is it's like it's one thing to hear it from someone who's, perpetuating the carnivore diet, but to hear it from somebody in the living food space,
Exactly.
that is, for me, when I heard that, I was thinking, this is bullshit.
It is. Right
It's
on.
total bullshit. And it's on it and it's doing harm. It's creating
Yeah.
harm to people. And it's fracking people up more than they already are.
Yeah.
People come into this fracked up.
Yeah. And Gerson is just as bad. These people don't know how to cure anything. They don't know about health. They don't know the trueness of that. They're just lost in a vegetarian lifestyle and bull crap like that. Reality is chemistry and physics, and that's what we go by. I've been a naturopathic physician for 50 years, a biochemist for 49 years. I spent a lot of years in science.
Yeah.
We have Patty, our A&P professor. She's a dear friend. 24 years as an A&P professor, osteopath, biochemistry professor, and we're all going down that same line, understanding how the body works. And Pat is a brainer. So when you talk about the body, she can tear every little cell apart all the way down to nothing.
Yeah.
That is important to understand. That's what we're doing, why we're doing the V-Book and everything. We're going to show you in this new V-Book, Fruits, Berries, the Natural Food of Man. Everywhere you look, we're going to prove through anthropology, through everywhere you look, we're going to show you that there's no way you can consider a Homo sapien a herbivore. That's crazy thinking.
Crazy thinking. And, the other thing too, the other claim anyways, was that the original diet of fruit would have been a crab apple. So for example, the crab apple, that's the original fruit. And so that because of the fruit, because it's been hybridized today, that is reason enough alone. I think that's honestly probably the foundational piece. That is where he's coming
from. Vegetables hasn't been.
And vegetable, yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There was no vegetables back then.
Right.
That's created all of this. He's talking about hybridizing. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, right.
You're in real time in the moment. You want to go back, you go back. And who knows? You can't go back 10 million years, except for those anthropologists I told you that went back 10 million years ago. And they've been doing research. They also, with this idea that man's body has adapted to a more carnivore diet, is untrue. And they proved that. And they looked at gut tissue. They looked at everything in modern man and man 10 million years ago. Mm-hmm. And no changes.
Yeah.
We're a frugivore over and over. What is evidence that this is not a good diet in terms of vegetables and in terms of meat and stuff is look at man's health problems.
Exactly.
The human cell has never been so genetically degraded as it is now. And you look at these kids. I just did a YouTube this morning. I got a 12-year-old with muscular dystrophy, a 6-year-old with something else. And they don't give him but a few years to live. Those things can be cured.
Yeah.
But not from a medical profession and not from a Hippocratean profession, because they're not on the proper thinking of health. They're totally off of that.
So probably the people that are going to Hippocrates and saying that, I got better, is because they're coming in off of a really crappy standard American diet. They're obviously going to start incorporating living food. So of course, but the point is it's not sustainable.
Well, you make a good point. You can go on a vegetable diet and you're going to get better. I don't know whether your skin will clear up, but you can get better, no question. Mm-hmm. Whether you can get the kidneys to filter just on vegetables, I highly doubt that. Probably people don't understand what we're talking about when we're talking about that, but that's essential that you understand that and learn what that means. Vegetable matter is just not strong enough to get kidneys to filter, but I call them the good old boys in the white hats, the old veggies, good old boys in the white hats, all right? That's always a comfort food sometimes if you steam some vegetables or something, because you've been on a high energetic diet.
You got to ground a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I get it. And I've always said humans are so not evolved enough to handle the fruitarian diet. They're not mature enough. And so this is why we're having this conversation, because you have so many immature points of view in related to health like this. It's unbelievable. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's done in the Hippocrates clinic, but here we cure everything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
Go for it. Yeah, we
people
don't
can
mess.
go and
Yeah, we're talking about the chronic levels. We're talking about the levels where people are totally morphed, totally, broken down,
yeah,
totally necroticized, and
yeah,
and we can rebuild them.
yeah.
So if you have a cold and flu or something like that, go on some vegetables. Yeah, you'll feel better.
Sure. Well, I think aside from that point of the claim that the hybridization and all of that,
Sure.
the second biggest claim is that fruit feeds cancer. That's a big Hippocrates ism, is that if you have cancer and you eat fruit, you're feeding the cancer cells, and there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to get out of that. And yet here you are proving it time and time and time and time
Over
again
and
that
over and
that's
over.
not true.
We've cured up so many people with
Of course.
what they call cancer. It's not even funny, right? But to make a statement like that, um, I mean, I have no respect for anybody that makes statements like that,
Yeah, of
because a
course.
statement like that is just totally ridiculous. That shows you he doesn't know what cancer is. He has no idea about the lymphatic system. He has no idea about chemistry and how cells are damaged. No idea about that.
Yeah.
We have high alkalonic areas in the body as we have high acidosis, but predominantly everything breaks down into acid. So when we look at interstitial fluids, you're looking at predominantly acidosis. You can have these high fungal, we do because we eat a lot of starches and stuff like that. But that's starch. That's complex. We're not talking fructose.
No.
We're talking poly. So when we're talking fructose and glucose, we're talking simple sugars, guys.
Yeah.
Simple sugars that all species required to have. You're required. It's not an option in chemistry to have sugar in your food. That's essential need, or you're a dead duck physically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't even know. Sometimes I get all turned around when, people make statements like fruit feeds cancer. Really? What are you reading? Medical textbooks from people that have their head up their butts?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't even know. The medical doctors have no clue what cancer is, and they use that fear word to stick a 1.5 to 2 pH acid up your veins, which they should have went to jail for that. That's murder.
Yeah.
These guys are getting away with murder, with highly harming the human form. But guess who Rockefeller's tied to? Globalism.
Yep.
And globalism is for removing population.
Yes. And we're headed in that direction.
And we're heading in that direction
and
very
we
fast.
And we need to protect ourselves through, and that was the next point I wanted to make, just switching gears a bit to the spirituality side and moving forward now, because, we are, in my belief system, in your belief system, we're moving towards that new world order. Things are just going to get clamped down more and more and more. And so now more than ever is the time to start really embracing a fruitarian diet, because without doing that, I don't know that it's possible to have the awareness that's necessary to be able to even see that happening.
That's a good point. I don't like to say that your diet is related to your consciousness, because you're a being that is consciousness first, then you get a mind, then you get emotional body, then you get the physical body. So I don't like saying that you have to eat a certain way to develop consciousness, because that's not true.
Yeah.
But with that said, generally you're right on. When you're a heavy meat eater and you're lost in the vegetable kingdoms and stuff, your head is there. And when you go into fruit, your head is lifted up and you start seeing more etherically. And when you look at it, it's almost symbolically when you look at, and there was a Native American book called To Touch the Earth years ago. And it's about mystic Native Americans and the chiefs and what they had to say. And they were saying, you want me to plant vegetables and corn, so you want me to rip my mother's skin open. And that was his analogy. By cutting the earth open, I was ripping my mother's skin open.
Wow.
When we can just gather berries and we can gather our fruits and stuff. Yeah. The real problem is man isn't living in places that are conducive to his health. We are subtropic and tropical species. We're not northern species. Do you see enough here to keep us warm? Heck no. We don't do well at all, right? We do not do well in the cold at all. Now, cold is alkaline, and
Right.
everybody eats acidically up north. And of course, when they get cold comes here, they go into cold and flu-like symptoms. All the mucus comes
Totally.
out, and they thought, "Oh my God, viruses! I caught all this stuff."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you see all the Democrats do their thing and all this, and we're going, "What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. You
You
got to
drink milk, yeah,
tap
drink milk,
into who you are,
yeah."
right? Yeah. So how do you, like, from a spiritual perspective, how are you seeing the predestiny of our lives, or where is the line between predestiny and free will when it comes to, for example, some of the choices that we make?
People wonder
Like,
about that.
yeah, like even within the diet, like are things like people who fully embrace and embody and integrate a fruitarian diet, and within that, within eating those high energy foods, you are able to develop more awareness and be able to tap in more to your spiritual nature. Where would you say is, it's just kind of a question that I always am ask myself, like, is this all set up predestined, or do things happen in life as choices for our growth and expansion, and whether or not we take those, it doesn't have to just be in what we eat, obviously it can be all other things as well, but what are your thoughts on that?
So let's take a little minute and change our perspectives, right? So let's stop looking from the little physical body and my emotions and my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and we're looking up to what we think is God somewhere, right? So we're looking from the finite to the infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Let me excite you and go the other way. Look from the infinite into the finite. Well, to
Mm-hmm.
do that, you can't use your body, you can't use your emotions, you can't use your mind. So in comes a word that Buddha sat under a tree for 17 years to get, called detachment.
Right.
So as soon as you don't care anymore and you kind of leave the mind out there, you learn how to stop thinking. That's a big one, because you were trained to think, and your
Right.
thoughts keep you away from yourself. You don't know who you are as long as you keep thinking. And then your emotions, they drive you up and down the scale and everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So who are you really?
Yeah.
And you'll never know until you drop all your bodies and you start to move into pure awareness. And pure awareness has no indications to it. You can't think it, you can't feel it, you can't ask for it. You can only be it. And like everybody's saying, be here now. They're saying the conversation with God and all these books talking
Yes.
about the present moment, right?
Right.
Well, it's not. The present moment exists in consciousness. The bodies exist in time. We're all in time, but if within time is in consciousness, everything is within consciousness. Everything is within the all. There's nothing. I was just talking about this morning. That there's nothing outside of something that's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. You can't have two when everything is totality.
Right.
Totality means just that. There's nothing outside of that which is, right? So then who are you? So I always say creation is nothing but God playing hide and go seek. To me, I see you as God in an individual expression. I see the plants as God in an individual expression. Trees, everybody's on these different levels, traveling through, going through karmatic moves, and that is your dictator, is your karma. What you create, you got to pay for.
Mm.
So that's where the differences come in. Once you learn how to get rid of that karma, not create more, and learn to be in the now and watch the mind, watch the emotions, control them, you just became a new being. You just made your book into the heavens and in the
Yeah.
highest heaven possible.
So in the teachings of something like the Bhagavad Gita, where there's a saying in one of the beginning chapters, and of course it's the battle with Arjuna and Krishna, and Krishna saying to Arjuna that the highest goal would be to not have to repeat life, that you would not have to come back.
Right.
So how do we start implementing that if the goal would be based on that teaching that we wouldn't come back when we're in this world with everything going on in our emotions, and we are attached to everything?
Well, All right. And I've said this to yogas all over the world and to all these people that get into meditation and things like that, or go into a monastery and stuff. I'm going to take you out of the monastery and I'm going to put your ass in the middle of New York City. And I want you to be in the now, in the middle of New York City. And when you can do that, you got it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's easy to go contemplate your navel out in some monastery or some out in the woods or somewhere like that. But can you maintain God awareness or consciousness while involved in your activity and your work? Because that's what stops karma. Outside of that, you're thinking, planning, and setting things up that you have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So when you learn not to do that and you let the hand of God come through you and do that, you're done. You just let this thing and they work it. You're going to work through your karma because you got a lot of it stacked. And if you're working with true masters, they'll show you your Akashic records. And then you just let them work through that. You're done. And keep working in the now, the present moment. You don't need to create anything. If you truly want to be done in reincarnation cycles, the Wheel of 84, whatever you want to call it, you can't create any new things because you're the one that has to pay for everything you create. That's the gig here. You know, God is just making itself responsible for its own self.
What if you created things early on, like in your lifetime? Does it mean that you would take a body again to come back into life, but you would have to go through that entire lifetime without creating?
No secret. That's why the masters and we are here. You know, I'm also help too. And we also help you to work on the inner planes. That's where we work your karma off and help you to work things off is on the inner planes. At night when you're lay the physical down, if you become awake and aware enough, you'll see all your spiritual guides, the Ek Masters or whoever, and helping you to get that way, to move you down that direction. So it's a fun thing.
Yeah. How important do you think then having a meditation practice is daily to be able to actually connect to that part of yourself that so many
you should always start with that. You should always learn how to meditate, but meditate anywhere, any place, in any position. And then learn how to be in constant meditation. Because I remember talking to some guy and his wife was in a coma and I wanted to pull her out for him and he didn't want me to. And we were talking about this. And I said, I don't meditate 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there. I live in meditation.
Right.
I'm constantly in the moment as much as I can. Yeah, I'm thinking to put these V-books together and all this stuff, but I listen. Oh, thanks for that. Right? Because if I get lost in thoughts, I have to be careful that I can get out of it. Because once you engage your mind, you have to disengage your mind. And the mind is such a powerful tool. If you ever had cosmic consciousness, you'll understand the power of the mind.
So then moving through then in our journey of being human, then the things that come along, for example, our traumas, our wounding, the things that have happened to us, that we may take on some victim consciousness about, things that have happened in our life.
A lot of that.
Are those things, would you say, are those things there for the purpose of growth and expansion of consciousness?
Always.
Always, yeah.
But you want to keep them in the Akashic records. You don't want to bring them and look at them. I know people go back past life regression and stuff like that. Really? Well, let me tell you, I have a good friend. She took herself back. She found that she met me and my mate in a Native American tribe 3 or 4 lifetimes ago. We were, the military was coming down on us. She was raped and she relived all that. I said, you can go back if you want, but you're a culmination of all your past right now. Go right now. Don't work on your chakras. Go here. Go right on out. Go to consciousness. And it's just a matter of learning how to stop thinking. You could spend lifetimes through the initiation processes and going through all this crap and stuff, or be like me, cut the crap off. And how do you go there directly?
Do you take the fast track?
Exactly. How do you become awake? Quit thinking. Right? What do I have to do to quit thinking? Just observe. J. Krishnamurti, get any books from J. Krishnamurti. He was great at teaching people how to quit thinking and that your life is just a culmination of your desires.
Well, I think a lot of people would, people would hear that and will be like, how the hell do I quit thinking?
I know it sounds crazy, but when you're chasing your attention is always chasing your thoughts. Well, you are your attention. Wherever you move your point of view, your attention, that's what's real, right? You can make something dead come alive again. You can make a dark room come alive again. Your attention is the power of God. That's your energy. That's your consciousness. When you engage it into thought and into emotions and into forms, now you're in creation. So conscious now is using forms to have fun, to play.
Right.
If you've ever talked to souls that just never been to the earth, to the physical universes,
Yeah.
there's a lot. Not all beings have been to this low levels. It's a trip. It's a real big trip. And when they come to these areas, they're hell on wheels. I talked to one soul that came in here, just got here. She born with a friend of mine, through a friend of mine. And I mean to tell you, I couldn't do anything. I said, I get why you're here. And she became a whore, a hooker. She did all kinds of things. This soul wanted to experience everything down there, he said to me. And boy, did she. Holy crap. But I can't say anything. That's why that individual's here, to go through those experiences.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, those people that are listening to you and me, you're ready. You're not going to listen to us at our high levels of conversations and stuff without being ready for this.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe an opportunity for self-inquiry.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
And so just one last question on that. How do you feel about some of the things that we're going through right now as a planet being manipulated from off planet?
Well, I doubt if even the Homo sapien has been on his original, but yeah, I mean, this planet has been mined, marketed, experiments on humans. I saw a human once where they took the hands, and I think it was the Greys, but they took the hands and put him on differently, and he was walking like this.
Wow.
I mean, I'm telling you, these guys do serious harm to humans. So you've got a lot of serious individuals that are not on the human form side. And I think now you're seeing that. Matter of fact, I think the Pentagon finally released that they have alien beings that are not human beings. And that finally, I hope humans are aware that you've got Star Wars here.
Yeah. And so taking, if we can look also at our human form as having disembodied beings on us, taking on other entities. I know this is a big...
You want me to go there?
For a lot of people I want to talk about. But it's true. So
it is true.
If we are embodying that idea, then all the more reason we got to get on the fruit.
Yeah.
We got to start being, like you said, stop thinking so much. But what are some other things that we can do to detach those entities from us that may have us doing and acting in certain ways that we wouldn't otherwise be doing?
That's why it's so important to get out of your mind. There's always a being that's more powerful in their mind than you are, and also in the emotional world. So they'll use those bodies of yours to control you. So breaking away from thought is as simple as, if you're in the mall, you're walking the beach, you're walking in the woods, try walking around and just watching. Don't think. And when your mind starts getting a thought, stop it. And just keep watching. Look, just watch. Don't put a label on anything. Remember, the mind labels. We don't want to label anything. We just want to be whatever we see is what we see. And I go back to those paintings with the dots in them, that if you look at the painting with the dots, you can't see what's the picture is behind it. But as soon as you let go and pull back and you don't stare at it, you can see the picture. That's the same thing as how you get to God consciousness.
Got you.
Can't look at it. You can't separate yourself from it because you are it. So you just have to realize that the buck stops with wah at all levels.
Yeah. And be interested in yourself. Take interest. Be interested in yourself, but do the self-inquiry, ask the questions, I love the Sri Ramana Maharshi's, what we just talked about. Who am I? Who am I? It's a great question to ask yourself.
And remember, when your thyroid is low and your parathyroids are low, you don't really have, that's depression with the parathyroids and the calcium, right? So you don't really have a point of view of yourself. Yeah. When you're down here in the throat chakras or endocrine glands, you're down in yourself. Depression, you'll kill yourself, you kill your kids. all these things like that. So the health side of this is real important in the regurgitation back to consciousness, because when you lose the body, you're still aware. You're still here. You're still conscious. You lose the astral body. You're still here. You're still conscious. You lose your mind. Guess what? You just went into the heavens again. Yeah. So if you're a yoga freak, check out Shabda Yoga. I just talking to a Singh gentleman, and the Singh family definitely was in the Radhaswami group, which is the Shabda Yoga of Light and Sound. Okay. They do recognize Satnam, which is your first plane of pure consciousness, where there's no, you're not at the cosmic consciousness where everything's one, but I'm still me and you're still you. When you lose that id factor of the etheric, you're now into pure consciousness. You and I are no longer separate. You and I have merged and become the one again. Then the one is the one.
The one's the one. Yeah. And by doing that, when you're feeling those things, getting on the fruit diet, using the herbal formulas, right? You can move that. You can move that energy.
The healthier you are, obviously, the more energy you give off. Anytime you invoke a thought or you invoke emotions, you're cutting your energy levels way down. Everything takes energy. So if you're not invoking those things and you're just being the observer, your energy levels go way up. And the same thing with the fruit versus the vegetables. All you have to do is live on the fruit diet, forget some of these weirdo wackos, and start realizing that, a tree and a plant bears fruit to give to us. And if you're into Hinduism, you don't have to take vegetables. You don't have to rip the ground up. You don't have to kill the whole plant. We're just going to give the gift. We're just going to take the gift that the plant or tree gave us. Thank you very much.
And say thank you.
Yes, it's a higher level of experiencing. Not if I step on a blade of grass and all that. Sorry, honey. But, it's just that's the way it is.
Okay, so closing this off, I think, this is going to be a little controversial podcast. Good. That's cool. I love it.
Me too.
Yeah. So let's talk just a little bit, closing this off, about moving forward with things like New World Order. Things are coming to that point right now. And whether you believe it or not, it's happening. And it has been happening. And it's going there. It's heading in that more so. What can you leave people with to really, I feel like people are starting to wake up more, especially after the whole COVID thing, and, see people dying left, right, and center after being vaccinated. So I think people are becoming more aware, but I still think people struggle with the idea that this is a system and that it's to take us down, to take us, to control, to take us down. And we want to be able to remain in our body.
I said earlier, George Soros and his son put all their money now towards shutting down Trump, whatever they can do to try to get him down, because their statement on the news was he's a threat to globalism. All right. So, and we've seen that here when Biden gave a talk, he said, Trump is for individuality and freedom. We're globalists. So don't be surprised in what you see with open borders and everything else, because they do not want you. They consider you worthless eaters. That's what one scientist way up there said. Humans are worthless eaters.
Wow.
Well, and you notice the vaccine is packed with I kill you type of stuff. So this is just a sick world. Globalism means that there's roughly 8 to 9 billion people on the planet, and they can only their agenda is 500 million. You know how many people have to die to achieve that? So again, they're factually wrong. The bulk of the precious metals and stuff on this planet is not being used by the middle class and the lower class. It's being used by the wealthier people. So it's already been proved that the lower class, the middle and lower classes are not burning up the precious metals like the mining stuff like they say. They're the ones that burn all this stuff up. And so I don't know what to say. It's going to be war.
Yep.
And it's on this country. It depends on whether we can get fair elections or not. Fair elections, you got it. You know that we're going to stop it. But fair elections, that's not how they work.
That's not how it's happening.
Not fair. They will kill you if they can. They don't like you. And these are globalist people, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, you name it.
Yeah.
And
Keeps
the whole pharmaceutical gig, the whole allopathic gig, positive and negative rules creation, right? Good and bad, so to speak. Now, those are judgment calls because what is a bad experience can end up being your best experience of your world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But as a rule, you're looking at positive forces and negative forces. Which do you think allopathy fits? They can't cure anything. They have the highest death rate of any modality on the planet, including
Yeah.
car deaths. So you've got a modality that has the highest ratio of killing people,
Yeah.
the highest ratio of all this kind of wacky stuff. And it's like, what side of the world are you on? You're on the negative forces. So keep that in mind that when
Yes.
you hear someone talk, which side are they talking from? Are they talking godly and spiritual and uplifting, or are they talking negative? And that's
Yeah. 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 And I think, yeah, just, you know what? It's so important to, again, ask the questions, do some research,
yeah.
don't just follow the status quo. It's okay to go off and follow your own path. And I agree with you. I think people who are listening to us, they're on their way. You're on the line of opening and becoming more aware, and just keep doing that. And you are just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful guide. You're like my spirit guide. You really are. Yeah. So
What's fun is when you finally let go of the suffering from desire, and not means you can't have nothing. You can have anything you want. You just can't want it.
right.
Like if I bought me a new car and I said, dude, you want it? I don't.
Yeah.
I bought almost literally all my employees new cars. I have I take care of my people,
Yeah.
and I don't care. I've never been about money. I'm about the consciousness and God and your experience and being happy with it, not living there with tumors hanging out all over you or the tissues rotting in your body and stuff like that. And some of these sad cases from the kids. Man can rebuild himself and he can remember genetically the cell. And he just has to learn the secrets of true naturopathy to do it.
Yeah. And also
we have our school. We come to our school and we have it's cheap and you can learn how to cure anything, especially yourself.
Yeah, you can be your own physician.
Yeah.
Be your own physician, right?
Exactly.
So
it takes that. You have to be.
You have to be.
Because
isn't Hippocrates said that?
Yeah,
like not the Hippocrates in Florida, but the OG Hippocrates.
Yeah.
If you're not your own physician, you're a fool.
Wait till that V-book comes out, sweetheart. You'll love it. And it'll have all the facts on frugivorism. You will see all the facts in anatomy, physiology, chemistry, clinicals. We're going to tear it all apart for you. And there's no way you're going to argue with us on it because you can't. Yeah. And clinicals are the testimony. Because what are you doing in clinicals on a fruit diet? Oh, we're rebuilding toes that they want to remove. We're rebuilding brains that are atrophied away. We're getting people out of wheelchairs on fruit. Oh, I thought it killed you. God, that's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Thanks for having me.
You've got this new book coming out, and I think it's going to be just life-changing for so many people, and so when do you think that's going to be out?
By Christmas, because we have 3 books currently. I'm doing 4 at once. But the first one is most done is the Fruit and Berries, the Natural Food of Man. I've got my we've got all our A&P stuff about ready for it. We've got we've hooked into some veterinarian, anthropologists. I mean, we've gotten all kinds of looking at the gut tissue of everything, even deeper. I mean, we're tearing this apart all the way down to the human cell to show you that the Homo sapien is true a frugivore. Whether we're practicing it or not, that's unimportant. But when you use it in clinical work, hitchhike with herbs, look what we can do. We can get you out of a wheelchair. We can get you out of this. Well, Brian, how do you explain the fact that the brain converts glucose to fructose? Oh, it's going to burn your brain up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Stop
already. Exactly. Have you said protein? Come on, Brian. But no.
Yeah. No, this is going to be like the modern day frugivore Bible.
Damn right.
Yeah. And I'm going to be the first one to get a copy of that.
Yes. I'll have her send it to you. I would show you the layout of it, but I don't I don't have it here. We're typing, doing this, we're doing this and doing this. And then we've got the guy coming in to start filming on the 17th, but we're filming iridology first. We're filming, I've got about 50 slides, and I'm just going to go over eye after eye after eye. And I'm going to show you what I see and how to look at them. Will help all you students in iridology really pick up an eye quicker, like that,
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. Then right after that, we have the frugivore book coming out. And then we have the lymphatic book coming out. And that will explain to you what diseases are. And this is a very in-depth, it's going to be done for the layperson, but it will be definitely a text type book for those professionals like medical doctors who need to understand the lymphatic system. Then all their answers of diseases are answered, all their questions are answered, and they understand how they get people well.
Amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me today. I appreciate
Anytime. I love it.
Much. Yeah, I love you.
We can't let that herbal, the vegetarian thing sit there. That's like,
no, all that stuff, it needs to be brought up. I mean, you can always go and you can find both sides, but to really okay, you said that, let's talk about that. Where the hell did that come from?
Okay, I got one for you.
Yeah.
Go to say an elementary school, right? Get into about some 8th, 9th graders, right? And in the cafeteria, you make one big table of fruits, all the beautiful colored fruits and everything else. And then you do one table of vegetables, in all fairness, and some of the pretty colors and stuff. And tell me which table most of the kids are going to go to and eat off of. Yeah. It's not going to be your vegetables. They're going to go to your fruit. Oh, man, this is where all the taste is. This is where it's good.
So true. And who salivates when they're out, if you walk by a kale plant, I mean.
Yeah, really. Kale, it's in your teeth and everything else. And then you got, oh, gosh, should have juiced it. And then you got all that. But you get into the fruit, it lifts you up. You feel your cells, everything just lifts you up. You feel clean, it cleans your butt, it cleans your teeth.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. A good thing. When this comes out, the book, you'll see this 25 reasons of the difference between fruit and vegetables.
Oh, I love it.
All laid out there for you.
Beautiful.
Differences between a fruit diet and a vegetarian diet, not just the anatomy and physiology difference, which is extremely obvious. I can't understand people that really supposed to be professional. They're really supposed to take a look at these, that you can really tear the chemistry of fruits and vegetables apart and claim vegetables are better. I just don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't know. I think sometimes we come up with our own narrative, and then what happens is you put yourself in a corner because you've come up with an idea, and then it's kind of, you just can't get out of it. You could if you wanted to be honest, but you can't oftentimes for ego purposes, you can't.
Or dug yourself a hole.
You dug yourself a hole. Exactly.
I can't get out of it because now he's using bizarre reasons why your fruit's going to burn your body up. Oh, these are bizarre, unlogical reasons.
This is some
could be a reptilian.
Stuff.
Could be a reptilian there. You didn't mention shapeshifters, but man's got to learn that not all beings are seeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Well, we talked about a little bit about the disembodied beings and the entities, right? I mean, absolutely.
If you want to see if someone's involved with one, just piss one off. I mean, there's a way to piss the reps off and they'll come out.
Yeah.
You better know what you're doing. Because this is a big deal. I've had patients in here telling me they're following them. Because I had mentioned something about them and then I got all kinds of negative stuff on YouTube and I go, I better keep my mouth shut, But then I had patients come in and said, we heard you on YouTube. And I said, I was. He said, no, you're right on. You saw one, and we've been following them. And boy, when you start to, Jesse Ventura did a show on them, we're having problems with them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's awareness. We bring awareness.
Bring awareness.
Put it out into the light so it can be seen.
Yeah. And you don't have male and female principles. Notice how they're trying to destroy male and female principles. That's reptilian. They don't want any gender.
Right. Yeah. Well, I could go on about that too.
Oh, I could too. Oh yeah. But I appreciate the invite. I thank you because people that heard that is so wrong. Vegetables are not the food of man. Great
Yeah.
for your horses, cows, and everything else, but I've never seen a horse turn down an apple.
No, 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 no. Even
Oh, no.
I have a rabbit. I have a pet bunny I have a pet bunny, and he goes crazy for bananas and apples. And
We
oh my,
raised rabbits.
yeah,
I just have to tell you, they're not sick because of fruit. Horses ain't dead because they ate fruit.
no,
Dogs, we detox them and rebuild them on fruit. They don't die. I mean,
no,
and these are true omnivores. So I don't know where this guy gets
I
off.
know.
I don't care. We know what's true, what works in clinicals. And if you've got MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, you're in a wheelchair, you better learn to stay on fruit and learn how to get yourself out of there because you can. You do not have to live in a wheelchair.
Thank you.
Love you, honey. Thank you
Beautiful.
for the
I love
invite.
you too.